Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nathan. If you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for the Ultimate Fighter 26 finale, season finale, and this was phenomenal finale, top to bottom. You had giants collide in the MMA world, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Lauren Murphy and Barb Ponchak, two former Invicta champions, duking it out in the UFC flyweight division. Dude, that was just an awesome matchup. Good job of the matchmaking in this card. So yeah, as a post-fight rundown of the main card, and let's get started. So, the main event was for the UFC Women's Flyweight Championship of the world. We had the the finalists of the show, Nicco Montaño, going up against Roxanne Modafferi. Now, Roxanne was a late replacement because Sanjara Eubanks had issues with the weight cut, and she was a worthy replacement because she made it to the semifinals and she was razor thin close to making it to the finals. And she's a tough, durable veteran who trains at Syndicate MMA and has great coaching staff over there. Nicco was definitely unknown going into this competition in a lot of people's eyes, and wow, she delivered. She did a great job. She won this fight unanimous decision against Roxanne Modafferi, but it was a battle. It was back and forth. Roxanne landed some great jabs. Nicco did some good ground game work in this fight, and wow, yeah, it was 49-46 on two of the judges and 50-45 on one judge. I agree with the 49-46s. I think Roxanne may have squeaked out one round. And there is one or two rounds where it was pretty close, but I would give it to Nicco. But overall, it was Nicco, I think, won the fight fair and square, and she's your new UFC flyweight champion of the world. And wow. First ever, too. And just a little fact that a lot of people aren't thinking about is the UFC has more champions now than ever before, I believe. They have currently 13 because George St. Pierre just vacated his belt, and then Whitaker just essentially became the unified middleweight champion. So I believe it's 8, 12, 13. Yeah, because you got Tony Ferguson, the interim champ. So yeah, it's like I believe it's more UFC champs than ever before, which is making it interesting. And for me, that's kind of interesting and awesome and fun because now you can have more pay-per-views with 2 title fights and more free TV cards with 1 title fight, and it makes it exciting. And it doesn't get too clustered because you have 8 men's weight classes and 4 women's. And so it's not like you have 50 men's weight classes and 20, women's. So it keeps it within reason, but keeps it where things are moving forward and you can have a title fight for sure every month. And yeah, it's a fun time in the sport right now. So yeah, Nicco Montaño, she's definitely well-rounded. Solid jiu-jitsu skills, good, decent boxing skills, and it's going to be fun to see how she is as a champ now that she just won this flyweight title. Then in the bantamweight division, in the co-main event, we had Sean O'Malley, who's coming off the Contender Series, Dana White's Contender Series, against Terrion Ware. Sean O'Malley, wow. Talk about flashy striking. Sean O'Malley, wow, just delivered, and he threw some big haymakers and kept Terrion Ware guessing. And Terrion Ware held his own for moments, but Sean O'Malley just really racked up the strikes in this fight, and there was some moments where it was just lopsided. And yeah, Sean O'Malley won unanimous decision. Yeah, it was 29-28 across the board. Yeah, Terrion Ware, I could see how he may have won a round. I forget which round it may have been, but yeah, there was one round where it was, you could argue, Terrion Ware. Then, yeah, so Sean O'Malley, a young kid in the bantamweight division, Definitely someone to look out for. Fun to watch. Great mic skills. And yeah, we got uh, yeah, that was a unanimous decision. Then also in the women's flyweight division, we had Lauren Murphy versus Barb Honchak. On my fantasy, I picked Barb Honchak because she was a natural women's flyweight, and she was the Invicta flyweight champion. Lauren Murphy was the bantamweight champion, and I was kind of thinking maybe the weight cut, maybe she's better off at bantamweight, and this weight cut may get to her. But also, she was bantamweight champion eons ago in the MMA world, and Barb Honchak, correct me if I'm not mistaken, was flyweight champion a little bit more recent in Invicta. Um, yeah, and so I favored Barb on this one, but I knew it would be a hard-fought, close fight. I think Lauren Murphy won this fight. I think the judges got it right. It was a split decision win for Lauren Murphy, and it was impressive. I think, yeah, the judges got it right, but Barb Honchak held her own, and they both went for it and tried to win this fight, and I give them both props. Big fan of both. But yeah, Lauren Murphy, she got dominant positions, and she landed some good significant strikes in this fight, and I think that's what won her the fight. And it'll be fun to see where Lauren Murphy goes next in the flyweight division. And I think this overall will be better for her than bantamweight, now looking at, after the fact. But beforehand, I thought maybe she should just stick with bantamweight. But yeah, I think flyweight, there's potential, and it's still a growing division. So she could fight some people and rack up some wins and rebuild her career. It's going to be fun to see. Then in the middleweight division, we had Jared Mearshart versus Eric Spicely. This one, yeah, I got, pretty accurate. Jared Mearshart won a TKO body kick round 2, and forgot how I picked Jared Mearshart to win this. It might have been by knockout on my pre-fight show, but I picked him to win this. Eric Spicely, though, has decent submission skills, and he's pulled off some upsets with his submission skills. And so, Jared Mearshart, he's a prospect at middleweight, and he's always fun to watch, and he always delivers, and it was a good, he was landing some body kicks early on, and it was just accumulating, and then he was able to land that final blow that just did it, and so Jared Mearshart wins TKO round 2. Then in the women's flyweight division, we had Deanna Bennett versus Melinda Fabian, and this ended up being a draw. But Melinda had a point taken away. Had that not happened, I think, for sure, Melinda would have won this fight fair and square. Deanna, I think she needs to maybe learn some new things in her camps, maybe try other camps. I think people are starting to figure out Deanna Bennett. I remember watching her in Invicta, seeing her just really dominate, but it seems like she struggled in the Tough House, and then she struggled in this fight. And I think Deanna Bennett's way more talented than this performance. And with her sitting with her coaching staff and figuring this out, I think she can definitely improve. But